What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's really been moving Rivian, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, Rivian is pulling back down 2.15%. It did have a low of 1702, so it has recovered fairly well since then. But beside the point, I think a lot of growth stocks that have been rallying over the last several trading days is starting to pull back. 17.6 million shares have been traded so far within the first 1 hour of the trading day. 52.7 is the average. So today's going to be another heavy volume day. You do see institutions very much buying Rivian today. So these are all the transactions within the first 1 hour of the trading day on the secondary market, above $100,000, majority of which is buys. So this is why you kind of see the buy the dip moment. So institutions do see a lot of value when it comes to Rivian. Just one thing that really kick-started the sell-off right here was a sell, 11.9 million. So not necessarily the best, plus what was submitted on Friday, kind of it's still not a good image, so I'm going to go over that. As of late, there's been no real news from the company itself, a lot of speculation for their upcoming earnings, but there's been no news. So last news came out July the 2nd, and that was just their numbers, which were relatively good if you ask me, given the circumstances. I think the expectations were very, very low. But looking here, there was this 144 that was submitted on July the 12th, so on Friday, which did signal RJ right here was selling 200,000 shares, which works out to be 3.6 million shares. So I get it. There's different camps that people can view this as. Some people see it as RJ just paying himself, which is obviously fair. But at the same time, if you group everything together, he did this one transaction. And so the trade date was June the 25th. That was for around 71,000 in stock. So about $803,000 essentially. And it is all transaction code S's. So it's not for tax purposes. It is a straight up sell. Then on July the 8th, there was another 1 million transaction. And then as well, looks like right here, today's, or I guess the 12th, and that was for 3.6 million. So I feel like this just isn't really all that good if you ask me, but he still does have a hell of a lot of shares. Essentially, so he did previously have 981, subtract the 200, so he has around 700,000 shares still, so fairly good stuff for that. So all in all, just Rivian's been piggybacking off of the broader market, which right now the market and a lot of growth stocks are rallying because of potential interest rate cuts. So right now for the September 18th meeting, there is a 81.1% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, and then for the November 7th, around a 58% for another 25 basis point cut. So all in all, back-to-back cuts has really driven a lot of growth stocks in the EV market higher, especially looking right over here. Just the last 5 days alone, Rivian has gone up 10.39%. And just even bigger picture, the last 1 month it is up 60.35%. So I think Rivian definitely is doing a lot of good things. As of late, I'll give you a quick overview of what the Elliott Wave technicals and what analysts have been viewing Rivian as. So there was a new rating that came out 3 days ago, $15 hold, Mizuho, the J, who does have a 60% success rating, which isn't all that bad for an analyst that does cover EVs, so that is something to kind of keep in mind. But still, $15 rating isn't all that great. As a consensus now, 1726 is all these combined. So the consensus, which is around 2.32% downside. So Rivian has gone up a lot more than what even analysts did forecast. So there's a lot of things happening with Rivian. I think a lot of people are just going to be watching their upcoming earnings to see exactly what is said, what the metrics are saying, and what their future guidance is kind of saying. So they did reiterate that they're going to hit their year-end target, so they didn't cut despite the shutdown or anything like that. Right now, 18 analysts have given estimates, and so far there is a consensus of negative $1.22 for the earnings per share. So analysts have started to become a little bit more bearish on Rivian. Previously, it was negative $1.18. So obviously it went from negative $1.18 to a negative $1.22. So that's not necessarily the best. Looking at revenue, currently 22 estimates with 1.03 billion for revenue, and that is up slightly from 907 100,000. So all in all, I think that is pretty good stuff if you ask me. So let me know your thoughts on that. And while I'm actually on here, I'll give you an overview of the Elliott Wave technicals, which so far in the past at least has been very, very accurate. So right now it does have a pivot point of $14.60. So for as long as Rivian is above that, then it is anticipated to get between that 2150 and 2290 range. So pretty epic stuff. You do see other competitors such as even Tesla running up like a madman. So it is fair to assume that Rivian could do of similar nature in the foreseeable future. But I'll dive deep into that a little bit more once I go over the technicals itself. On a side note, if you're looking for a lot of good compiled information such as analyst ratings, forecasts, everything under the sun, and it is completely free, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below and also the comments. But moving on, looking at data. So I always like to bring up shorts, not necessarily because Rivian is a squeeze play, it's just good for analysis purposes. So right now shorts are returning 1.26 million shares. So by Rivian being red and shorts returning, it kind of doesn't validate today's red day. So that's kind of a positive thing. 18.85% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 133.47 million shares being shorted. I brought this up in my weekend video, so I always do the top 5 most heavily shorted stocks, and I believe Rivian was number 3 or it might be number 4, but regardless, it is top 5. It's interesting because right now there's $1.44 billion in shorts in Rivian, and that is more market cap than even Polestar and many other EVs in fact. So kind of a unique circumstance, but utilization 66.54. And just for transparency, I do not see Rivian being a squeeze play. I'm just bringing this up more for analysis purposes. But moving on and looking at some additional information, starting off with options. Market's only been open 1 hour, like I said, but 6.59 million in calls, 2.96 million in puts. So a lot of money is getting into Rivian, both through common stock as well as through options. Of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above $20 by the end of this week. So clearly piggybacking off of the Elliott Wave technicals, a lot of optimism. And then on the flip side, looking at the puts that's being purchased, you see a consensus for it to be sub roughly about 16 to 1550. So it's going to be volatile. Just take that for face value because yeah, even looking at the fib levels right now with it at 1770, it is trading between this R2 and this R3. So 1714 is a strong support, and then 1951 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. Very wide gaps. So like I said, just anticipate a hell of a lot of volatility in the foreseeable future with Rivian. So just be comfortable with like 5% swing days, and there's a hell of a lot of Fed speakers coming out this week. So yeah, just anticipate a lot of fun days. And aside from that, just wanted to bring this up. One thing that's really driven Rivian and a lot of other growth stocks higher is people's appetite for risk. So the fear and greed index right now is at 62. So under the greed category. So all in all, I think Rivian definitely does have a lot more upside coming, and it's all depends on your risk tolerance, how long you want to hold Rivian for, because I do feel that Rivian will get back to the mid-20s sooner rather than later. A lot of people seem to be under the impression that there is going to be another bull market that is going to be starting fairly soon. And just looking at Rivian, and even just generally over this last 6 months, Rivian has done and laid down a good foundation for them to continuously grow for the foreseeable future all the way up to 2030. So if you're looking to try and catch the bottom, just take note of some of these strong support and resistance points like I kind of mentioned. But if you believe in Rivian and they're doing the right thing with all their joint partnerships and everything else, then take advantage of these prices if you ask me. So let me know your thoughts on Rivian. If you are one of these retail investors that have been buying over this last several trading days, ever since it looks like the 24th, give yourself a shout out in the comments below. If not, what's holding you back? One final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.